So today 28th, I believe, yeah, 28th January 2023. So I'm going out now, going to the mechanic workshop to go and the car I need to go and check, probably repair as well. So I'm going out with the 407 V6 coupe manual. This one, I don't know. This bumper, I've been wondering what to do about this. You can see here there's a gap here. It's opened here. Considering to change the bumper. Originally, the bumper, when I got the car, it was bad here. So I had it repaired. You know all these things, they'll use body filler, fill it up, tight it. But then I needed to remove the headlight at some point. And then to do it, the bumper has to come down. Not fully down, just to shift it down a little. Then all this happened again. Likewise, this. You can also see here. Happened here as well. So, and even this space is not supposed to, it's supposed to be closed. It's a little bit open. So I'm wondering, yeah, I could repair it again, and but what it now means is anytime I'm going to remove the bumper for whatever reason, it means it's going to damage whatever they will fix. So I may end up replacing the bumper. Not that cheap. That's what I've been dragging my feet. Replacing it. It's not cheap compared to the saloon or station wagon from 407 bumpers. So at least last time I asked was available. So we'll see how it goes. And of course, I may end up not getting, if I'm going to replace, I may end up not getting a silver one. So it means I will have to repent. So I'm not going to focus on the color while searching for another good used one. So it depends on how good the one I will find is. Then if it's not silver, I will have it sprayed. Okay, well that's about it, about the bumper. So, oh, damn. It's been long I did this POV drive. So I'm not even sure I've ever done it on this car. I don't think so. Maybe someday I'm going to review this vehicle, because I know I've reviewed every other. Have I? No, I've not done the 505. So we'll see. Okay. So something I need to talk about in this video, which is not even about this particular vehicle anyway. Let's get to moving first. I have to reduce this AC, so I won't disturb the video audio. Yeah, but it's cool in anyway. I have to reduce the blower speed. So I hope the camera is well positioned. Okay, so now it's about the EP6 engine. Now, for those who don't know what I mean by EP6 engine, I'm talking about Peugeot engines that you find Peugeot 207, 308, 508, 3008. There's so many Peugeot models with these engines. So let me start with one of them, the one they call 308 non-turbo engine. That's the local name, they call it here in Nigeria. So but it's not like a 308 engine, but it was produced, Peugeot started using it alongside 207. you know, when the 308 production started. So people kind of started calling it in Nigeria 308 engine. That's the T7 308. Okay, so you know, most guys are scared of that engine, especially in 207. Yeah, originally when they came out, having some issues, and you know, it was a new engine series, so it wasn't easy to figure out. Yeah, you could also say it wasn't only Peugeot that was having issue with that engine, because it was also same engine that was used in the Mini Cooper of that era. So you can't say is that the complaint was not true. Yeah, it was, you know. But I've actually figured out some of those issues people were complaining about, and realized that it's things that can actually be fixed. It's not big of a deal. Sure, you know, they're supposed to be better than in terms of dependability. Now, I don't like using that word reliability, because it doesn't even make sense to me the way people use it. So it's not as dependable as the ones they were replacing in 307. You know, I'm talking of TU5 JP4. You know, because all these engines, all these EP6 engines are 1.6 liter petrol engine. So it replaced the TU5 JP4. So TU5 JP4 is more dependable. So now the issues people are running away about that engine. The model is VTI 120. Main issue they are running away is usually caused by timing, and then the camshaft, not camshaft itself, the camshaft sprocket. That's what we also regarded as camshaft defacer. Not necessarily the defacer itself. Yeah, they do fail, but from my own experience, I realized that the failure is not even the defacer, but what you know, they're on the camshaft. There's one C, there are two, they call it ring, but two rings on each of the camshaft towards those camshaft defacer. So when those rings wear out, they are rubber rings, when they wear out, it started losing oil. There will be oil leak from there, or pressure. The oil pressure on the defacer will no longer hold. So what will now happen is you scan the vehicle, because once that happens, you lose power. The engine will lose power. So you scan the vehicle, it will be telling you what's this called, camshaft defacer. So you imagine how frustrated you will be after changing that defacer. The issue remains. Some will change the timing chain, tensioner, do everything, you know, fault remain, to the point that eventually they will decide to change the engine. And if you are lucky, the engine you will put will not have that fault, so it look like, oh, maybe the other engine was dead completely. So that's the reason why most people, maybe after even changing the second one, if the issue continues, they will now start considering converting the engines to TU5 JP4. That's what is common here in Nigeria. So let me increase the AC blower speed a little. The water is very hot. So because of that, you see a lot of people very scared of that engine, especially in 207 and 308 T7. You know, so I wouldn't run away from that engine if I were you. But I also understand that if you don't have anybody that can be able to interpret the the fault found after the diagnosis, then probably what I'm saying is not helpful. I can interpret but it doesn't mean every other person can. But like I said, because I've understood the engine, probably not everything yet, but like I said, basically majority, I could say like 90% of reason why people run away from that is this thing I told you, the timing. Most times they don't know how to set the timing of that engine. Then the second thing is, even when they do, they will be able to interpret the error found, or during diagnosis, what the issues that were found. They will be like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. But then, you know, most times usually that zero ring on the camshaft, behind the camshaft diffuser, that is the main reason. But most people, not even in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, don't even know, you know. So they can be very frustrated. Those rings, I don't even know if they are available here, but it's something you can easily order. It's available online. Maybe I could start buying and selling, but that's the problem. The problem now is who is going to buy, you know, because people don't even know about it. So my point is, don't get discouraged. If you're interested in 307, no, 308, 207, and you find that engine in it, go ahead and buy. Just a note, we have made the main issue why people do this, so that if you start having power issue, drop of power, you know what to look for. Of course, there are other issues, you know, but these other ones can easily be fixed without opening the engine. Now, same goes with those THP engines, you know, turbocharged engines. You will also find in 207, 308 T7, 508, 3008. Even, see, all these engines I mentioned, you also find them, like the VTI 120, you also find it in 508, 3008. So it's not like it's only for 308 or 207 that you find it, just that they appear more in those smaller Peugeot models than the 508 and the rest. But I would suggest avoid the one in 508. If you see any 508 with that engine, avoid it. It's not necessarily the engine that is the gearbox that is attached to this semi-auto manual. That nonsense. The manual gearbox that electronically is controlled, avoid that gearbox. Unless you find one that has a full manual gearbox, then fine. But I know they don't come with automatic, full automatic gearbox with that engine in 508. So, but 3008, they come fully with, what's it called? Fully with the manual with VTI. So coming back to the THP engine, THP engines are the turbocharged engines you find in this model of cars I listed. They look alike, like the VTI 120, the one that is not turbocharged. They all look alike, except from the cylinder, you now see some differences. So now they don't suffer this zero ring, what's it called? Zero ring sail on the camshaft diffuser end of the camshaft itself. They don't suffer that. The only issue they do suffer is like the timing tensioner. It's not necessarily the timing chain, but you know, there's nothing wrong. You can replace the chain. It comes to that, but it's not really a big issue for the 508. You know, it's just like I said, most times people don't know how to set the timing. What else? I mean, okay, the other variable parts I can talk about in the 508 turbocharged cars on every other Peugeot car with that engine series is high pressure fuel pump. But there's something you need to understand. That high pressure fuel pump, from my own experience, can actually last you more than 100,000 kilometers. At least I have a client's car that the mileage, got the car new, the mileage is now over 100,000 kilometers, and yet it's still running with, oof, this car is slow, man. So it's still running with what's it called, with the high pressure fuel pump. The car was sold for with brand new, from new, I mean. So meaning, yeah, at least his own car has confirmed that it can last. So if it can, because most people, once they start having low fuel pressure issue, the first thing they will do is to start condemning the high pressure fuel pump, saying it's the problem. Most times it's not, you know. So to me, if it can last you more than 100,000 kilometers, then it shouldn't be a big problem. Turbocharger, they don't fail that much. You know, most times when people start having a turbocharger, they scan and see turbocharging circuit issue or anything related to turbocharger, they will condemn and assume the issue is the turbocharger itself. There are things that work with turbocharger that can fail, and make the car lose power. So it's not necessarily only the turbocharger and the high pressure pump that can make the THP engines to lose power. You know, there are some sensors, components that work with these things that can make it happen like that. I mean, I could go on and on, but these are like the most expensive external attachments on these engines that do wear out. But turbocharger can also last you over 100,000 kilometers. That I know for sure. So I use quality oil. You know, the only thing I'll point out is this THP engine, they tend to consume oil more than every other one, but not that much. So it's an engine, you know, when you have, you know, you'll be topping up more than you top probably your previous older cars. What else? Yeah, there are some other things like this thing, what's it called? The CTS, depending on the model, the coolant temperature sensor, the one that looks like a pencil or so, or in a pencil shape, that one, the sensor, then they do fail. And once it fails, you notice that your temperature will never exceed 70 degrees Celsius. And no, that's the temperature gauge, not the true temperature of the cooling system. But the temperature gauge might be showing 70 degrees Celsius, and because of that, the fan will not come up, the engine cooling fan. So your car will start overheating. It will now look like something is wrong. So because most Nigerians, they will go and now bypass and put the fan direct, not knowing that all you would have done is to change your cooling CTS, and the fan will, and the temperature will start coming up back to 90 when it's hot, and your fan will start doing its work. Unless maybe when you're on AC, then probably the fan will stay on, so it won't overheat when your CTS is bad on those engines. On this, all the EP6 engines, their valve stem cells are known to be weak, so over time they tend to fail, especially when you don't use them for a long time. What else? Even the rings are available, the piston rings, so you can even easily change them if you realize that after changing the valve stem cells and the engine is still smoking, probably you could just change the rings. That will solve the problem. What else? The rings are not that expensive. All these parts I'm mentioning are not too expensive. But the only thing I would say is the repair. Wait, let me park here. The repair cost, the maintenance cost of this THP and VTI engine, that's the EP6 engines, is much higher than that's another coupe here. It's much higher than, what's it called, than the previous Peugeot models before these models that have this engine. So meaning if you are buying, don't okay, let me skip the AC running for a while since I'm still here. So if you are buying, you know that this you're likely going to be spending a little bit more when it comes to replacing parts and the rest. But like I said, if you maintain it very well, the parts will take a little bit longer to fail. Well, I mentioned the thermostat housing, they do fail. Thermostat inside can fail and stop working, but not like it's not known for that. But what I do know about the thermostat housing on this engine is they tend to leak. You know, the housing is plastic, so sometimes it can crack or start leaking, small. You start losing coolant. One of the good things about that engine is the head gaskets. They hardly fail. Can last you. I mean, the head gasket is so good that I can remove the cylinder head and still put the head gasket back and it won't overheat. That's how good those head gaskets in those engines are. So sometimes if you want to change your valve stem cells, but you don't need to change the cylinder head gasket, and it will work, no overheating, nothing. You know. So this is something I've done, and I know a lot of people will not like what I'm saying. That is not the right practice. I'm telling you what I have done, been doing for years, and it has never shown any issue. You know, so to me, buying the head gaskets seems like a waste of money, unless maybe you want to actually, what's it called, grinding of the cylinder head, scrape everything. Then you might have to consider changing the gasket. What else? Now, when you are buying the Peugeot models with these engines, try as much as possible to find out what are the issues the car have. Because every used car will have issue. Just because it's not showing you warning on the screen doesn't mean it doesn't have problem. It does. Most times, all you need is plug in a scan tool. You'll see them. You know, they are there, but not enough to trigger check light. Probably intermittent. That's even for electric car. The mechanical faults could be your suspension, could be something on the engine, mechanical. These are the things. What's it called? Electric will not see and trigger warning. And could be the brake, something, maybe your brake disc is weak, and so when it comes to inspecting this car, find out, is any of the one you are inspecting, does it have oil pressure issue? If it has, there's one common thing they do here in Nigeria. Okay, let me switch off. There's fuel scarcity now, so I don't want to burn up my fuel since I'm under a change. Can be doing this video. Okay, it's taking long, but it's worth it anyway. So there's this common thing Nigerians do here with these engines. Now this EP6 engines, some have you know, they have models. They have THP 150, THP 156, THP, so many of them, 163, 175, and so on. THP 200, you know, and the rest. So even 225, THP 225. Now some come with oil control solenoid inside the oil pump. Yeah, the engine oil pump, the main engine oil pump. There are some models that come with oil control solenoid, electro valve on them, attached on it, not necessarily inside. It's just attached on it, while some don't. So what I realize is, because sometimes when people, Nigerians, want to, instead of rebuilding engine, they will replace. They will buy one, maybe that the one that on the car has that solenoid. The engine they will buy, probably because it might be cheaper, will not have that solenoid. So start getting the oil pressure warning issue, because the ECU will be requested, you know, it's expecting that sensor for feedback to control it, and it's no longer doing. So yeah, it triggered the warning. So you need to scan the vehicle. Once you start seeing that oil warning pressure issue, maybe pressure too low, pressure too high, scan that vehicle. On the engine ECU will tell you if the issue is with that the oil electro valve on the oil pump, then it's most likely that the engine on that vehicle, if it's Nigerian used car, the engine on that vehicle is no longer the engine the car was sold with. And not only that, also most likely that the the engine there is the wrong one. Is the what they put, the one that doesn't have that sensor or electro valve. Or also possible that they change the oil pump and put the oil pump for the one that doesn't have, because some oil pump does not have that provision to attach that solenoid on it. So because those ones are cheaper, so they will go and put it. And because the oil solenoid, the solenoid will no longer be able to be attached, they will leave it unconnected. And so, you know, so many things. So my point is, once you see that, if that solenoid gives you that warning, then expect that it's likely you may end up changing that engine, because it's not something you might be able to tell what exactly is the issue. Is it that the solenoid is disconnected, or that is there, but the solenoid has failed? Because yeah, it can fail as well. The electro valve, yeah, it can fail. Change it. You know, I have so many reasons. So you won't be able to tell, because the only way to find out is to go under the vehicle. I'm not saying just peep. You have to jack the cars or go find a pit driving. If it has all this protector under, you remove it. You have to be able to peep, and they have to have their technical eye to know where the location of it on the engine block behind. Sometimes it's the easiest way to access it is even to jack the car, remove the tire, remove the CV joint, the drive shaft, before you can even easily access that place to even know whether it's there or not. You know that. So that's why it's not something you can do or find out when you are expecting the car. No, you can't. Even if I was the owner of the car, I won't allow you to start dismantling the tire car because you want to inspect the car. If you are not buying with, leave it. You know, so that's the point. So expect that you may end up, I don't know, replacing the engine. Or another thing is, in Nigeria, they don't change engines, ECUs. The engine ECUs, the people don't actually do thorough research, especially the electricians, technicians. They don't do thorough research on when they're changing the ECUs. All they do is just remove one, put another to see if the engine will start and run. So I've seen many Nigerians use Peugeot vehicles with these EP6 engines that the ECUs on them are completely different or not meant for the engines on the vehicle. So it will be you know, showing all kinds of errors. So if you put ECU on a vehicle that is supposed to have that is not supposed to have that electro valve on the oil pump. So if you put the that ECU, so the ECU will start giving you that warning, even though by design that vehicle is not supposed to show that warning, because it's not supposed to have the solenoid on that engine. But the ECU will now be popping up that warning. So if I were to diagnose the car, not inspect, if I were to one of the things I would do first is to check the ECU first from the diagnostic, so you can tell which ECU is for that is on the vehicle. Confirm does it match that engine, even if it has been changed. Is the ECU specifically for the engine on that car? So you need to know the specific EP6 model the car is supposed to have. That particular car is supposed to have. So you find out the ECU match the engine. Then if you match the engine, then you have to go on that to find out not whether the sensor is connected, but whether there is even a connection. Because if the vehicle is not meant to have that solenoid, there won't be any wiring connector for the solenoid or the electro valve. So if you go there and now see this connector there hanging around, not connected to anywhere, means that engine is not supposed to be there. You know, there are so many ways. See, that's why I say there are certain things you leave for people who specialize, who understand the Peugeot models. I mean, don't go and buy a used vehicle blindly. That's a mistake Nigerians make. Then tomorrow you start complaining. All this is I explain to you now. More than 90% of technicians, even Peugeot technicians, do not know all these things. All they know is, oh, the engine is sound. They will go and start. Push the throttle to the floor. tell you it's not smoking, the engine is sound. If they see any warning on the screen, it's just a minor issue until you now enter. But when I tell people, pay this amount, pay me this amount, let me go and save you from that headache, you feel you are being, I don't know, until the issue comes, then you start looking for who will help you. At that time, I might not be available to do that, give you that help, because you made your choice. So don't go and buy all this car. But I'm not pointing out all these things for the technical ones who might be able to identify, even not just for the Peugeot users, but even advice for technicians, Peugeot technicians. So you know all these things. So even when people bring the car to you and you start seeing these things, you can know how to do your diagnosis, your findings, to know exactly what the issue is. So those are the issues you have when you are buying these cars as Nigerian use. Any Peugeot model, talking about 207, 308, T6, T7, 3008, 508. Which other Peugeot models that are common in Nigeria with these engines? Maybe I've forgotten one or two of them. But there are so many Peugeot models. But I'm talking about the ones that are common in Nigeria with these engines. So those are things you need to check. Now that is it. So my point is, these are, if the solenoid is bad, that's if the car is meant to have it and it's bad, then you deal with it. It doesn't fail that much as long as it's quality oil, quality recommended oil. Because what kills is bad oil or dirty oil. If the oil becomes really dirty or watery, maybe there's water in the system, maybe for some reason water found its way on the oil pan, it will turn it to milk. The oil turn it to milk. What will now happen is it will go and block, because it has small filter on this electro valve. It will block it. It will be able to pass oil very well anymore. So you start getting warning. If this very engine, you are the type that don't change your engine oil on time, or the filter, the engine becomes very dirty. It's going to block that filter on the electro valve. It will no longer pass oil through, so it will start triggering faults. So there are other things that can give oil pressure warning on this EP6 engine, like their oil pressure sensors. Sometimes the sockets tend to fail. Not the sensor, the sensor, not the socket, the connector actually. Sometimes they start leaking oil from there, so you start giving you the warning. They are available new ones, they are not even expensive, you can replace them. That's why I said, once you are inspecting a car and you see that warning, you need to scan that car, not with any, look for PP2000, scan that vehicle, scan the engine ECU, scan the BSI and the engine ECU, to know exactly what is the cause of the oil pressure warning. If you scan any of them and the oil warning, you are not seeing any fault relating to the, that is not showing any fault that has to do with the oil pressure sensor or the electro valve on the oil pump, it's most likely the engine is gone. There's something wrong mechanically inside the engine, maybe the crankshaft, the camshaft, and so in that case, you're probably looking at buying another engine. So if it's any of this, maybe this pressure sensor or the electro valve, then it's not a big deal. The only time it will be a big deal is if it's the wrong engine or the wrong ECU. Then it means you have to spend something tangible to have the warning go away. Either you replace the engine or you replace the ECU. There are so many ways. Okay, aside the oil pressure, what else? I can't. There's, I don't know. Then this other fault that usually pop up, low pressure, low turbo pressure. What's the accurate name? I'm trying to remember. When there's low. What's this thing? I'm trying to, but I know the code is P0299. If there's a solenoid behind the engine, electro valve is on the intake manifold, that can cause it, and also your turbo wastegate can also cause it. The turbocharger wastegate, or in the vacuum lines between the turbocharger and the wastegate actuator. Wastegate actuator can cause it. The vacuum line between the electro valve and the electro valve, the two-bay electro valve and the actuator can cause it. The wastegate, there's this thing that springs up and down as the turbo is opening, can cause it too. So all these things, those ones can take time to diagnose, to find out, but at least it's not that it can be fixed. It can be fixed. So my point is, like I said, it's just understanding. I've been able to understand that system, the issues people are always complaining about, and say that it can be fixed. I'm still learning that system. These engines, but like I said, it's not a big deal to own them. The only thing there is now is, actually spend a little bit more. Depending on the condition you are buying. Because if you buy one that is not abused, you find just few things to replace. If you buy one that has been messed up, wow, you either you look for big sum of money and fix everything once, or you spread it, and which can be very frustrating as you are fixing this one, So that's the thing. Don't abuse the cooling fan. Most people end up abusing the cooling fans, engine cooling fan on this vehicle. You see them, they will go and bypass. When the electronic module that controls the fan on EP6 engine fails, instead of them maybe, especially when it fails, the AC will not work anymore. Instead of them to diagnose to know why the AC is not working, they will go and bypass the AC to the compressor, bypass the electric fan. Instead of just replacing that electric module, which is easily available and cheap, they start tampering with the wire, tampering with their compressors and the rest. So honestly, guys, I don't know. There's nothing so difficult to own these engines. So I'll encourage anybody who wants to buy to buy. Don't run away from them. You can't change unless you are buying a new car. The THP engines have been improved. The VTI engine has been discontinued, but the THP engines are still in production, but has been improved on anyway. So if you can, buy the one that were produced from 2014 upward. I'm talking about Peugeot models with any of these engines. You're better off. The older ones, some of these issues are there, but after you fix them, they're gone. So there are some items. If I keep saying some issues will be coming up or countering during the ownership of these cars, this video will run into hours, hours upon hours. So, but every other car has it. You can't say EW engine they don't have their own issues. If I start explaining some of their issues, you also run into hours. So yeah, I'm giving out so people see that it's not a big deal. You can learn from this video how you can actually solve some of these issues on these engines. So that is all I can say now. It's almost close to 40 minutes. So yeah, so if I have any other important thing to mention about this engine, probably will be a part 2 of the video. Okay, so let's see how it goes.